Right, so just when it looked like all was well between Ed and Liz, the spherical little menace has flipped her world upside down all over again. Later on, we're going to find out from Ed what exactly happened. But first up, let's get Liz's side of the story.
Ed canceled the wedding.
What a surprise. In the last video, everything was going well between them, so they said that they were in a period of calm. But we suspected that it was just the eye of the storm, and it seems like we were right. Ed and Liz hosted a 4th of July party with his mum Norma, her daughter Riley, her grandparents, and her parents. And the only thing that came close to drama was Ed's one-on-one with Liz's mum, and that pretty much turned out fine. Inevitably though, not long after, Ed messed up all over again, just like we knew he would.
I don't know, there's just a loss of words. I go to bed, I wake up, and he's gone.
So a few nights ago, Ed and Liz got into a fight in front of his family, but unfortunately, the cameras weren't around to capture it. According to Liz, they had Ed's sister and nephew round for dinner, and Ed made taco pasta, but he made Riley's pasta too spicy for her. Apparently, when she said something, Ed turned around and told her to stop being a baby, which Liz did not like one bit.
I don't appreciate that, and I called him out on it, then he attacked me back, saying, look at you, you're crazy and everything.
You know a relationship's doomed when a spicy pasta can bring the whole thing crumbling down. It's not surprising that Ed erupted at that though. His ego is as fragile as a glass balloon, and he hates being called out, especially in front of people. So when Liz stood up to him, he snapped back, the whole thing escalated, and here we are. However, to absolutely blow things out of the water, Liz then gets a message from the wedding officiant saying that he's sorry to hear that the wedding is off.
Ed canceled our wedding without even telling me.
This man is something else, I swear. They didn't discuss it, he didn't warn her, and the argument doesn't sound like it was even that bad in the first place. If he's ghosted her and just doesn't have the balls to tell her, he is pathetic. But a part of me suspects that this was more of a manipulative play because he knew that the confusion would hurt her more.
This fight isn't even anywhere compared to the fights that we used to have. So I don't understand any of this.
She says she keeps replaying the night over and over again in her head, and she can't figure out why he's called off the wedding over taco pasta. The only thing she can really think of, and it's what I immediately thought too, is that he never wanted to get married. He's just been waiting for an excuse to call it off, and here it is. Liz goes on to say that despite the fact that they still have their issues, they really are the best they've ever been, and she feels like she couldn't have put more effort into showing him that he means everything to her.
I don't know of anyone else who would fight for him the way that I fought, and I think that's a special kind of love.
This is one of their biggest problems. They massively romanticize fighting for love, and it's just so wrong. She shouldn't have to be constantly fighting to prove to herself, or to Ed, or to their friends or their family that they're right for each other. It should just be readily apparent. Don't get me wrong, I mean, I know it's normal to have some days that are hard and you have to fight for each other, but it just shouldn't be almost every day for 3 years.
I am dying inside right now, waiting to have a conversation with him. What a coward, a weakling.
I'm glad there seems to be just as much anger as there is sadness in Liz. It would be infuriating being treated like this, but I feel like it would make things easier. Like he's doing something that makes it so clear that he's not someone that anyone would ever want to marry. So losing him just isn't as big of a deal. Hopefully it's not long before Liz realises that Ed was doing her a massive favour by acting like this. Well, whilst Liz is left in the dark, feeling angry, confused and hurt, Ed is staying at the home of his sister, who is also called Liz, and is recovering from eye surgery. So now it's time to get his side of the story and find out what really happened. But first, I'd just like to thank today's sponsor, Aura. I just did a Google search of my name and the amount of personal information that came up was shocking. Even for someone like me with a public online presence, it makes me really uncomfortable having my information exposed and for sale like this. Unfortunately, data brokers sell your information to spammers, scammers, and anyone else who might want to target you. Your full name, your email address, your home address, your relatives, your personal health data, it's all out there, and that is why I've been using Aura. Aura shows me which data brokers are selling my information and automatically submits opt-out requests for me. Cleaning up my information not only reduces the amount of spam I get, but it also protects me from the hackers who could use this information to help them access my social media accounts, which are the foundations of my career, as well as bank accounts and other sensitive information. Aura also does so much more to protect me and my family from online threats that I can't see. I benefit from other features like antivirus software a VPN, a password manager, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and more, without having to download several different apps. You may have one or two of these tools already, but not having Aura is like locking the front door, but leaving the back door wide open. Aura is always on, doing the hard work of keeping me safe so I can focus on my other tasks with peace of mind. It's really easy to set up, and best of all, I get everything at one affordable price. I value my privacy and I also value yours. So go to aura.com/arthurtv, which is also linked in the description down below, to start your 2-week free trial. Huge thank you to Aura for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back to hearing Big Ed's side of the story.
I wanted to tell you this is how she is. The fact that she blew up in front of you guys, it just really hurt my feelings. And then it just snowballed.
Hurt my feelings? Is he expecting sympathy from us? He, at the very least, participated in the argument, walked out on her, ghosted her, and called off the wedding without even talking to her. Why is he talking as if he deserves sympathy? I really hope that no one that watches these episodes without commentary, whether it's mine or someone else's, actually falls for this.
I just thought she was gonna stop and it wouldn't go on. I was really just hoping and praying she would stop.
This sounds so awkward. Obviously she's going to be biased towards Ed, but clearly Liz wasn't entirely innocent here. Regardless, I have no idea how they're not embarrassed to be fighting like this in front of people. Sometimes it's in front of friends, sometimes it's family, sometimes it's camera crew, but whoever it is, for someone who cares so much about their self-image, I'm surprised Ed allows this side of him to come out in front of people.
The problems that Liz is escalating, such a dumb fight, to the point where I don't want to be around this anymore.
It's not just Liz escalating though, is it? They bounce off each other. Also, if he had accepted that his pasta was too spicy, none of this would have happened in the first place. Still, I'm glad he's finally realizing that this isn't a good relationship. He shouldn't want to be around this anymore. Neither of them should be content with being in a relationship like this. And it just goes to show that this entire facade of them being the best they've ever been, as expected, was just clearly not true.
She doesn't respect me.
She has to respect you. If that's missing, that's a crucial piece.
Respect is important in a relationship, but Ed's not talking about respect here. What he's talking about is the fact that Liz doesn't bow down to him, that she dares challenge him on things, and that she stands up to him in front of people. He doesn't want a mutually respectful relationship. He wants to be a dictator, like a slightly shorter Kim Jong-un. Anyway, Ed goes on to say that he sold everyone this lie that Liz was perfect and the love of his life. And so when everything kicked off and proved that that was complete rubbish, he felt embarrassed. He couldn't handle it, and not only did it make him realize that he was lying to everybody else, but that he was also lying to himself.
Things will never get better, and we'll go back to the same fighting and arguments, and I cannot live like that for the rest of my life.
This is one of those rare occasions where Big Ed is actually right. I just can't ever see them actually fixing their relationship, can you? The problems seem to be too deeply rooted in who they fundamentally are as people. Well, his sister then asks if he's officially called the wedding off with the organisers, and he says yes. Not only that, but he says he's also spoken to the owner and got his deposit back. Apparently, after that, before even notifying Liz, he began calling their friends to notify them.
We just have to admit to each other, let's just move on. And hopefully God will give me another chance.
I don't know whether or not Ed has always been religious, but his family certainly are, and it's making him mention it from time to time this series. Whether it's being around his family or living in Arkansas or his faith has just strengthened, it's hard to tell. But Ed's sister goes on to tell him that she hopes that he marries a born-again Christian and goes on to live in a good, godly home.
I don't want to be divorced. It would be a nightmare. It wouldn't be a good thing for her or for me.
No.
Especially for me.
Especially for me is crazy. What could he possibly mean by that? Is his ability to empathize so bad that he can't see that a divorce would be just as bad, if not worse, for Liz? I mean, she quit her only job, moved all the way to Arkansas where she knows no one, and had to bring her daughter with her. At least his daughter is all grown up and independent, and he has his family around him as a support network. With Liz, Riley is entirely dependent on her for the rest of summer, and her closest family are a 16-hour drive away. The only way in which this could be slightly easier for Liz is because she's younger and so has slightly more time to find someone else after.
I haven't told Liz because if she heard me tell her it was off, she wouldn't believe it was true. She wouldn't want to have the conversation.
That is so incredibly stupid. And he's making it out as if him not telling her is somehow her fault because of a hypothetical way she'd react that he came up with in his own head. Once again, he's just failing to take any accountability for his own actions. Thankfully though, his sister has some sense and says that Liz needs to know that the wedding is off. So Ed says that he'll see if Liz is willing to meet at a mutual place.
At the end of the day, I can't marry Liz. We're not getting married. It's over. I'm done.
He sounds very serious, but how many times have we heard this before and it's turned out to be complete rubbish? Well, the answer is at least 13. They've broken up 13 times before, and every single time Ed said that this would be the last one. In fact, he's also technically called the marriage off once before by taking the engagement ring back after the engagement party. Why would we believe that this time is any different? Although a part of me genuinely thinks that he doesn't want to get married and doesn't want the commitment and has got cold feet here, a part of me also doubts that this entire breakup is sincere and thinks that he's using this as a power play to let Liz know that she can't stand up to him like this. He's basically holding the marriage over her head to get her to stand in line. She defied him and he took everything away from her. So maybe he's planning on taking her back and knowing that she'll never dare do it again.
I know it's not good on my part, but it's not going to be like the last 13 times. This is really going to be the final.
Another thing that's making me doubt that this really is final is the fact that it's so early on in the season. We're literally only a quarter of the way through it. If they break up now, what happens for the rest of it? But at the same time, if they do end up getting back together, how could they possibly go through with this marriage? I know a lot of people think that Liz lacks a lot of self-respect, but surely she doesn't take him back after this, does she? This is one of those times when I genuinely can't figure out what's gonna happen. I can't lie though, maybe it's just the stakes being higher, but something about this does feel different.
This is not about anger. Like, I'm not angry at Liz. It's just realizing that we're not meant to be together.
Maybe that explains why Liz said what she said in the beginning about being so confused, saying that this was nowhere near as bad as their previous fights. Maybe it wasn't a really bad one, maybe it was just the straw that broke the camel's back. The final push over the edge, that one piece of Jenga that we were speaking about at the end of the last video. I mean, we saw it coming, I just didn't think it would come so soon.
I'm at a different stage in my life, and I can see clearly that it's not going to work, that Liz needs to go live her life, and I need to live mine.
Well, maybe they'll end up going their separate ways after all, but not until Liz finds out what's going on. Ed says that he feels like Liz is waiting for him to call her up and apologise so that they can move on, because that's how the last 13 have been. So next up, he's off to a cafe to meet Liz face to face, so he can supposedly tell her that this really is it this time. So if you want to make sure you don't miss that, make sure you're subscribed down below. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.